Burn that shit. Burn that shit, chants an angry mob. Was another unarmed teenager shot to death by a terrorist police officer out for blood? Or was another man set free from jail after DNA evidence concluded his 30-year prison sentence was just one big mistake, and he was found to be innocent after all, and the time served was due to false evidence, witness intimidation, forced confessions, etc., and the real culprit is out there without punishment to boot? Or was another woman beaten on the side of the road by a militant thug with a badge and a Nazi-style uniform? Is that why they want to burn this shit? Burn this shit? Nope. It's just another group of white thugs riding over their favorite sports team losing a basketball game. Now, the University of Kentucky lost to Wisconsin 71-64, and it caused the chimp out of all chimp outs. Now, the reason why I say that is because racist people, whenever they see a group or groups of so-called black people acting in an unruly way, they run around talking about, oh, it's a chimp out, even though so-called black people don't have up to 4% Neanderthal genetics reported, and they're not covered with fur either, with lice in it. But I'll talk about that another time. Anyway, this is not the first time this happened. Kentucky did the same thing in 2014. Oh yeah, and they did it in 2012 as well. In fact, it's like this thing is just an annual event, you know, to have these big, massive riots with fires and fighting, turning over cars, setting cars on fire, etc. Anyway, it's like a true thug tradition on the criminal calendar. While there appear to have been hundreds, if not thousands of people involved in the crime wave, only dozens were arrested. They probably won't serve much time, if any, for their crimes. But at least the law enforcement agents can pretend that they're doing their job as the civil servants our tax dollars pay them to pretend to be, while serving their true masters, of course, their pockets and their egos. The more informed people will ask themselves, again, I mean, it happens all of the time. You know, I've been trying to bring attention to this white on white crime issue, but people won't listen until it's too late. This is thug culture at its finest. What they should have done is declare martial law, pepper sprayed these thugs, and fired rubber bullets galore. I mean, how many years will these punks continue their reign of terror as their ritual after a sports game? The following chimp out news comes courtesy of 538.com. 538.com writes, and I quote, after Wisconsin upset Kentucky in the men's NCAA basketball tournament Saturday night, there was a riot near Kentucky's campus in Lexington. People threw bottles and set fires, according to the Lexington Herald leader. The police used pepper spray and arrested 31 people. And this wasn't the first time people in Lexington reacted violently after a big Wildcats game. Last spring, the police arrested dozens of people after riots when Kentucky lost in the national championship game. And they arrested dozens of people in two separate riots in 2012 after Kentucky's win in the national semifinal and final. There are 4 of about 50 North American sports riots in the past 5 decades for which I've gathered media reported data. The database tells a violent history of the aftermath of many sporting events. Thousands of people arrested, hundreds injured, more than a dozen killed. The riots occurred in more than a dozen U.S. states and 3 Canadian provinces in reaction to sporting events in all 4 major North American pro sports, plus college football, basketball, and hockey. Nearly all the sports riots originated in championship celebrations. Just a handful followed losses for the home team. You heard that? Let me reread that. Nearly all the sports riots originated in championship celebrations. Just a handful followed losses for the home team. I put this together after finding no existing comprehensive database of these events. Our data isn't comprehensive either. Among the limitations, our Nexus and Google searches might not have turned up all media reports. Different jurisdictions and media outlets might use different thresholds in counting, say, injuries and fires. we often find differing counts for the same incident. And some incident reports did not include information on arrests, injuries, and deaths. In those cases, we left the fields below blank. The numbers might have changed for some riots after the last media report about them, and some might not have been reported. End quote. Here's my opinion. First of all, if you click the link below, what it'll do is it'll take you to my blog. Now, on my blog, I include the link to this website that posted this news story. So then that way you can go ahead and look more into the information that they provided if you want to. I just wanted to reread some things and bring some points to them, rather bring some clarity to this information, because this is really interesting. The guy who wrote the article said, quote, "I put this together after finding no existing comprehensive database of these events." Okay, so first of all, the reason why there's no comprehensive database of these events because white supremacy is painting rioting as a, quote, black thug culture event or thing that takes place. The last thing they want is for there to be statistics on these riots, because it would show it's pretty much almost always Caucasian people. And they, the white supremacy machine would not survive under that exposure and under the scrutiny that would come along with people having this information basically listed on charts and put in books, etc. The guy also said our Nexus and Google searches might not have turned up all media reports. Different jurisdictions and media outlets might use different thresholds in counting, say, injuries and fires. Wow. First of all, injuries and fires will be counted differently, but I thought men lie, women lie, and numbers don't. So basically what he's saying is that the numbers lie when it's convenient for certain people, if you think about it. He said incident reports did not include information on arrests, injuries, deaths. In these cases, we left the fields below blank. The numbers might have changed for some riots after the last media report about them. Wow. Now, why wouldn't they include that information? It's one thing if they don't know the information, but then that leads me to this question. If they don't know that information, then how are you going to report on it? How are you going to do reports without key information? I mean, when a so-called black person commits a crime, they have their person's social security number, the mugshot, all sorts of things. Next thing you know, they're seeing videos on TV, news stories on the internet. Fox News is going crazy, going ape shit, talking about it. Up there just fucking scratching like a crackhead, having a goddamn field day. They know everything about this person. They know their shoe size. They know whether or not the guy wears fucking Magnum condoms. They know every damn thing about him. They know his fucking favorite color, his favorite cereal, what his last meal was. I mean, they know every goddamn thing about the person. They're like, when he was 13, he's 19 now, but when he was 13, he took this picture and posted it on Twitter, sticking up his middle fingers. He got his first tattoo when he was 16. You know what I mean? Like, they know every little thing about this person's life, all sorts of irrelevant shit, anything that they think might tick somebody off, might make somebody not like the person, anything that they could ever remotely use to criminalize the person in anybody's mind, and they would use it against them. But it's fucking amazing that when Caucasian people do shit like this, it's flat out said, hey, we just don't have comprehensive data on it. This is why you so-called black people need to get on your job and start making these people come up with the numbers. And also, you need to be developing your own organizations to make sure that the numbers are correct. Because when we force them to put out these numbers and these statistics, since they love statistics so fucking much, what's going to end up happening is if our numbers don't match theirs and we can prove our numbers are the ones that are correct, we will show who the liars and the criminals really are. In any event, this thug culture is out of hand. They should have sent in the National Guard to stop these terrorists. These thugs were trying to burn down that city, and this white on white crime wave puts us all in danger. People have died at these riots, and as usual, the mainstream media chooses to ignore the actions of these violent gangs of dissidents. These punks get away with it every fucking time. They are risky youth. Now, I read the authorities had to use street sweepers to break up the crowds, and this was after 2 a.m. in the morning. You don't see too many news reports about this. I mean, the Ferguson riots and shit like that were talked about constantly. This right here gets swept under the rug, and of course those thugs and fucking punks at Fox News won't talk about it. All I know is that these thugs that committed these actions should have to pay for the damages out of their own pockets. Filthy fucking animals. Anyway, if you click the link below, it'll take you to my blog, and you can see video of these animals rioting as well as pictures galore, because social media sure did kick them in the ass. Social media was tearing them apart. It was all over Twitter. Now, it was almost the only place you would really find too much information about the incidents that happened. Anyway, thank you to the 538.com website, and that's spelled out with letters, not numbers, 538.com. And let me know what you think about it all below. Be sure to subscribe to the Meat Magazine YouTube channel. Visit meatmagazine.blogspot.com for more.